Hello, everybody. It's been a while. Um, I just kind of been doing life. But I have got some pretty cool updates that I am excited to share. If you've seen my channel before, I just love gear. I love hiking gear, camping gear, tools, EDC, but my love really is bags. I love bags. And I recently had an opportunity to acquire this beautiful bag here. Most of you probably recognize it without having to be named. But I just wanted to give you a quick update of how the system, like how I do things. I think a lot of people find it fairly interesting. So I call it a system, but ultimately it's two bags. I have this backpack and then I have a fanny pack. And between these two bags is pretty much everything that I use on a day to day basis, outside of tools and stuff. But from a normal day to day perspective of anything I would need, I could grab this backpack and this fanny pack and get up and go. Interesting part is I don't ever unpack them. So this backpack is packed and it is packed exactly as it's packed every day. And it sits next to my bed at home. I have a house. I have closets. I have lots of space for things, but I have narrowed down what I use on a daily basis to these two bags just for the ease of use, and the decision making is super easy. It just keeps everything really simplified and confined. So I don't have closets full of clothes. My closet, the biggest closet in my house, is full of backpacks and camping gear and some accessories for other things. But I don't have a closet full of clothes. The closet that I have in my house that contains any of my clothes, it has a pair of dress slacks, a couple of extra belts for like dress belts, and overalls and a t-shirt for messy projects because I like to get my hands dirty. I like to do small construction renovation projects. And so I have those separate because I do not get into them as often. I don't cycle through them week to week. But I wanted to walk you through how this is set up. Um, and I'm pretty stoked. So, first, the bag. This is a new bag to me. I used to use the TomTalk T77. No, T73. I think it's a T73. It is their tech pack, their X Pack tech pack. And it was great. It reminds me of Air backpacks a lot. It was great quality. I enjoyed using it. But I got an opportunity here. I got this at a pretty good price, and so I wanted to give it a shot. This is new, so it's as brand new, stiff. It's all the things. You'll notice a couple of different modifications, which I will cover. They're very small, by the way. But first of all, GORUCK GR2 1000D Cordura 26 liter. So I can take this as a carry-on in almost all airlines, but also as a personal item for most airlines within the United States. It might be a little big for some of the more stingy airlines in Europe, but for most places that I go, I could easily get away with this as my personal item. It will fit under the seat for sure. Uh, so, first of all, the brief overall mods that I did, you will see these are not standard zip pulls. When had my old GoRuck bags, one of the biggest complaints I had was that it was just too hard to open. Getting this unzipped and zipped up was just a workout. And I came across a video on YouTube where they suggested replacing these, and I didn't realize that it wasn't the flaps that were the problem. It was the zipper pulls and the flaps kind of together because these are pretty stiff, and then it had the shrink wrapped zipper pulls on them. Replacing those with regular paracord, one, it gives you a better hold on the pull, but two, it's way more flexible. So it gives you a much better grab, and it changed the game way smoother than before. The other thing I did is I really like more flexible, soft bags. This is not that, but in an effort to make it a little bit more flexible, a little bit more plush and soft, kind of like a classic JanSport backpack back in the day, um, I took the plastic panel out the back. This used to sit in the laptop compartment in this little zipper or Velcro pouch, very thick, very rigid. I took it out. The padding here is stiff enough. I don't need it. I might toss it back in if I ever decide to actually ruck with this thing, but I'm not going to use it. The other accessory I have here is a water bottle holder. This is a kind of a webbing based one. I had some bad luck with their GORUCK's old water bottle holders on the GR1, but I think it's better suited for the GR2, so I might pick up a water bottle holder from them and see if it works. But for now, this webbing is what I've got. It sits flat. I don't really use it all the time. I've actually not used this one yet on this bag because it's pretty new. But I replaced all of the zipper pulls. The exterior pockets are all bright orange, except for the quick access, which I used the same as the interior, which is a reflective red. And then for the laptop, I did a pretty cool Dyneema yellow, just for a change of pace. So getting into the bag, this is quick slash pocket here. Nothing really goes in here aside from like super flat item, which is just some wipes. I don't access these a ton, so having them stuffed in there is not difficult. Usually, if I didn't have this, which is pretty rare, I would keep this empty. I think this is mostly useless, especially if you have the bag packed out. So, and since I don't use those all that often, I just toss them in there, and that's all I keep in there. Those are full-sized body wipes, not baby wipes, so they cannot be flushed all that, but they're larger, so I can wipe down my body or my child as needed. And then I can just dispose of it. And then in this front pouch is clamshell opening. It's got 4 pockets. So in this top pocket, you can see I've got all the paracord or all the cords replaced. Again, game changer. Those weird stiff ones that stuck, it doesn't make sense to me. I don't know why they did that. They gutted the 550 cord and then made them rigid. They poked everything. They got caught on everything. I just wasn't, I wasn't for it. But this is more technology stuff. So I've got my travel adapter, hard drive, Apple Pencil, and then these Night Eyes gear ties, which I use for everything. When traveling, I use them as an extra hand for so much stuff, for lashing stuff to the bag. I used it to kind of create a canopy for my daughter on the plane with her blanket to block the light. And I feel like that is what I think about when I go to these all the time, because that came in clutch. It was an absolute game changer to be able to do something like that, giving her that peace so that we could get some peace. And then in here, I've got my portable nebulizer. So it's just a super small. I've got asthma, and when I travel, I'm hyper vigilant of it. So I like to keep that on me. And that just lives in here until I need it. And then in this pocket, I've got my TSA Toolkit. I've got a whole video on the tools in here. I think the bag might have changed, but the tools are the same. You can check that out. I'll link to it. And the only thing else I've got in here are a bandana and a buff. These are kind of go hand in hand a lot for me. The bandana is just a general wipe cloth. I use it for blowing my nose. I know some people think it's gross, but it works really well. You got a sick child or you're sick on the go, you need something to blow your nose into, you can always wash this. I use this as both a beanie, as kind of an EDC tray. I use it as an eye mask. I use it as all kinds of stuff. So when I pocket dump, I just dump everything in here and then toss this on my nightstand, and I know everything's there. I don't need to guess where I put it. I don't lose my wallet. I don't lose my keys. It's all going to be in here. And then I put them back in my pockets after I'm done washing my clothes or changing pants or whatever it may be. And those just live in here alongside the toolkit. And then here is actually my favorite pocket. This has so much depth to it. This very much reminds me of the Alpa, Cotopaxi Alpa series, where they have that horseshoe kind of front zipper pouch, which is, I think, the goat of all quick access pouches or access pockets on backpacks. That thing is phenomenal. And this is very reminiscent of that. So in here, I've got some toiletries. These are like the those old medicine cabinets where you kept kind of your extra stuff. This is that, because most of my bathroom stuff is in my fanny pack. So none of my primary bathroom accessories go in here. All of my accessories, my day to day, they all go in the fanny pack. That way, if I ever need to just grab and go, I can just grab the fanny pack and still be totally fine. Then I've got my EpiPen, always good to have. I've got a marker. So I have a pen in my fanny pack for TSA stuff or just day to day, but I really like having a marker because I actually prefer writing with a marker in most scenarios. Whether it's writing notes, sending packages, whatever it may be. Also, if you need to remember something for a while, you can write it on your hand, and because it's permanent marker, it won't fade away quite as fast. So you've got just a good all-around permanent marker. I think is really nice to have. And then I do keep some of these hydration, the electrolyte mixes. These are liquid IV, but I just do anything sugar-free. I like to have them on hand just because I feel like they make me feel better after a long day of hiking or traveling. I don't know that they actually do, but they're a nice flavor addition. So I don't really care about the brand as long as they're sugar-free. I don't really like to add a bunch of sugar to my drinks if I can help it. I'm also a Coke Zero guy. So that goes in there. And all I've got in here is like some extra soap, a mirror, some Q-tips, my seasonal allergy nose spray, and a full-size body wipe, and then um, an attachment to my trimmer, like my nose trimmer and my beard trimmer. It's like one of those all-in-one blades or whatever it's called. So that's everything that's in this front one, and that's primarily everything that's not in my fanny pack. And then I'm going to zip this up, and we'll go into the main compartment. The main compartment is also full clamshell. This is essentially my closet. So I used to be a packing cube guy. I stopped doing packing cubes. I just found it easier to just toss my clothes. Everything in here is just clothes. If something has to go in here, I picked the wrong bag or I packed too much. I want this dedicated to clothes. So this compartment is just a glorified packing cube. That's all it is. I will never put shoes in here. I might put some of my daughter's things in here during travel, but for the most part, this is just a packing cube. Up here, you've got a zip pouch that goes this way, and in here, you've got a zip pouch that goes this way. And this zip pouch, that's just socks. I've got 4 pair of darn tough ankle-high socks, all in black. Keep it simple. Here is underwear. I roll my underwear up. These are the David Archie boxers. They're like a bamboo mixed fiber, which I really have enjoyed a lot. I've also got one set of sheath boxer briefs for super active things like hiking or anything where I'm having to jump or move a lot, because boxers are not great for that. On this side, this is the big stuff. So this is just an empty mesh bag I got from an old pair of shoes about 15, 20 years ago, and it is now my laundry bag. For small delicates, I can leave them in here and just toss the whole thing in the wash. So typically with underwear or socks, I'll just leave them in here, throw the whole thing in the wash, and that way I don't ever lose anything small. And then starting from the top down, I've got my towel, Turkish cotton towel. I've had this for many years. Super light, super thin, quick dry, but still cotton. And that's really important. I've tried a lot of those thin travel, like a Matador and all of those. They're so thin and so like sticky. Like when you get them wet and you try and wipe off, it just like sticks to your skin like a wet paper towel. And I can't do that. That is not for me. So this one's super thin, super light. I use it on the beach. I have just one towel and this is all I use. And I've had this for years. This is just a nice, soft zip hoodie. I've got two t-shirts. These are the 32-degree cool t-shirts. I used to be a merino wool guy, but they're just so expensive and they do not last that long. I paid $12 for three of these shirts and they've lasted me at least as long as any of those merino brands did. I tried budget, I tried the high end stuff. I'm telling you, I mean, I paid like 400 something dollars for a whole set of unbound t-shirts and they lasted 6 months before they started pilling so bad or they got holes in them that I couldn't wear them anymore. And they just kept unthreading. These $12 have lasted me well over a year. They're super lightweight. They're pretty tough. And since I do have my workwear, I have one super thick cotton shirt that I use for workwear, Carhartt, but I don't put that in here because I don't wear it every day. Got one long sleeve outdoor research sun hoodie. So this is the outdoor research Echo. Super lightweight. This and this are my hot weather hiking setup. I know it's black. I made a mistake. I should have gotten different colors, um, but I couldn't help myself. So these are so lightweight and thin and quick dry. I don't use sunscreen. I usually just wear a hat of some kind and then wear these to protect my skin. And I believe personally that if you cover your skin with a lightweight fabric, it keeps you cooler even though you're more covered. When the sun comes in contact with your skin, it feels way warmer than if your skin is shaded, even if it's covered with fabric. I have tried. Going without a shirt is way more uncomfortable than just being covered up in terms of heat. You're still going to get sweaty no matter what. You might as well not get sunburned. This is just a pair of Old Navy swim trunks that I use as a backup pair of shorts or swim trunks. These are Viore joggers. I use those as lounge. And then this is my 3-season hiking pants, which are the Fjallraven hiking pants. I can't remember the exact model of them, but they're the super popular ones with the side zips and all that with the ventilation. And that's basically my whole wardrobe. The only other thing I will wear, I do own a button-up shirt, which I wear practically every day. Anybody who knows me in real life knows that I basically wear the same thing every day. Um, and a pair of black jeans, which I'm currently wearing. They're Origin brand. They're all USA made ones. I think they're great. They're super comfortable. I don't know that they'd really last much longer than a $50 pair of Levi's, but I wanted to give them a shot. And so far, I'm really impressed. I've had them for a little, actually a little under a year now. But again, I use them every day. They're my only pair of jeans, and I wash them once every 2 weeks or so, depending on how much I leave the house and use them. I do work from home, so I don't necessarily have to leave the house every day. So this is a little bit more possible for me. I don't have a uniform, nothing like that. But that covers the wardrobe. And then in this top pocket, which is their quick access, it's not a very big pocket. So when I travel, I usually keep this empty day to day. But when I travel, I would probably just toss my keys and stuff from my pockets from when I'm going through TSA. But I just keep my headphones in there now because I needed a quick place to put it, which is exactly what it's for. And then in the laptop compartment, I keep of course, my laptop, but I also keep my iPad. I just put them side by side and put them in there. I've never had problems with them being damaged this way. Um, this laptop compartment's really, really nice. Even without the panel, it's super cushioned, so I'm not worried about it. And then I just put them both in there, and they both fit totally fine. The beauty of this system is, since I leave this by my bedside just like this every day, if I ever wanted to go travel or we are going to a friend's house for the weekend and I don't have to pack. The only thing I might have to grab this, I might have to grab my charger and my water bottle, but between these two things, between my fanny pack and my backpack, I've got everything I need for a quick trip. I don't have to wonder if I have or missed something. If it's not travel sized, I probably don't even own it at this point. Um, this, of course, isn't everything I own because I've got a house to take care of and a family. But for me personally, this is the bulk of my belongings. This system has worked really well for me. I've done variations of this where I used to have like a toiletries kit that what I put in here, and then I would just keep a couple of quick things in here, like a toothpick or breath mints. I just moved all of those daily toiletries out of here and just into here. That way, if I really needed to, I could just grab this. And if I didn't need a change of clothes, I just need the fanny pack. I don't even need this bag for an overnighter if I'm not going to get messy or do any dirty work. So, all my toothbrush, toothpaste, hand sanitizer, battery bank, plugs, chargers, wires, dongles, all that are already in here. So I can be fresh. I've even got a little tube of homemade deodorant. Um, I can be fresh. I don't need all that bulk. But this is how I've been living for many years. The system has changed slightly over years, but it's ultimately been this. It has helped simplify and minimize the decisions on the daily basis. You don't have to wonder where things are. Highly recommend it. And if you have any questions on it, maybe some limitations, if you have a specific scenario and want recommendations on what I would do, let me know in the comments. I'm happy to answer anything. I just love talking about this because this is just interesting to me. Keeping things simple has been a focus of mine for a long time, and it works. It plays really well in my job as a project manager. And yeah, so I look forward to hearing what you guys have to think. I will be following up with a dedicated video to the updated fanny pack. Uh, Again, the contents are kind of the same as last, but there's very small tweaks from the last one, including the bag itself. So I'll do an update there. And if you want to see anything specific or further breakdown of anything that I showed or my thoughts on any particular product that I mentioned, let me know. I would be glad to make a video of that specifically. But otherwise, until next time, thank you for joining me.